Hey guys, welcome back to Malcolm V8. Today I'm going to show you how to vacuum fill your cooling system, how painless and easy it is, the problems it addresses, and how it all works. So let's get to it. Okay, so what's the problem with just dumping coolant in the system, firing up the car and going? Well, you have an issue with a lot of high points throughout the cooling system that will trap air pockets, and that causes overheating issues because you get vapor lock and other things going on. So a lot of people will try and remove various points and add funnels of high points to let air escape. It creates a huge mess, coolant starts bubbling out, and then I'll see they put jacks under the side, tilt the vehicle way up to try and create one high point where all the air can move to. And then they'll drill holes through the thermostat so that the air pockets can get by there. And even once all that kind of works and you get the air out, now you have a thermostat with holes. You know, in a warm climate, not as big a deal. In a cold climate, kind of defeats the purpose of having a thermostat. So there's a much better way. Let me show you. So how does the vacuum fill actually work? Well, you're going to pull the entire vacuum system under a deep vacuum. You're going to see all the hoses flatten as all the air gets pulled out of the system. Then you're going to open another valve and you're going to charge the coolant into the vacuum. And that's going to cause the coolant to get sucked back into the entire system through every hose, every nook and cranny of your entire block, both sides of the thermostat. At that point, you're completely done. You didn't even have to start the engine or anything. Disconnect, put the cap on, and the car's ready to drive. Beautiful. So here we have a vacuum fill tool. These range from about $19 all the way up to several $100s for really fancy ones. This one's about $30, $40. Does a great job. You can find these on auto parts stores, eBay, Amazon, online, all over the place. This is the magic on the heart of it all. It's basically just a Venturi valve. You hook your air compressor on here, open up the valve, and the air blows right through, and it creates a suction over here, hence the vacuum. And here's the main little body. So it just snaps on like that. Now, depending on your tool, they're slightly different, but the same concept. Compressed air is blowing through, creating a heavy suction here, which is going to pull up into your cooling system. And once you've pulled a vacuum into your cooling system, you're going to open up the other hose, which will be laying down in a bucket of coolant, and you draw the coolant all the way up and charge the system. Now, they have a variety of adapters. I normally use this cone one on almost every car, including the zinc. However, I know the Redfire, it takes one of these other adapters, so it's kind of neat. You got a whole choice of options there, and it doesn't have to fit super tight onto your coolant bottle either, because it's going to create a vacuum and it's going to just suction itself in there. So as long as you got a halfway decent fit, it's going to work. Okay, with that coolant drained out of the system, let me show you how easy this is to set up. Cap off, and we're going to use one of these adapters I found. See how it fits right in there like that. Nice and easy. So you can grab this, pop that on, and in it goes. Now we just need our air compressor piece, a little Venturi valve. It's going to pop right on over there like that. Just close all the valves ahead of time, and then you hook up your compressed air. Beautiful. Now I'd start the air flowing through the Venturi. And then I open up here and it starts pulling the vacuum in the system. Good. Okay, air on. There it is, all done, full to the top. Lid on. And we're completely done. This is ready to drive. All right, we got a few extra tips and tricks for you, so let's take a look at those. Okay, you'll notice when you start the system, this line going down to your coolant all the way is empty. And if your cooling system requires every last drop of coolant, you're actually going to suck a lot of air up here, using up your vacuum. So one trick is you can pre-charge this line with fluid. So we're going to open this, after we've pulled some vacuum in there, we're going to open this valve. Whoa, see the vacuum come, just do it carefully. You see the coolant comes all the way up. Now you've pre-charged this line with coolant. Now go back and make sure your vacuum's super strong in there. So turn it on, pull that vacuum, When it's pulled all the way up, shut it off, and now there's no air in the line. Another handy tip and trick here is if you have an expansion tank that has a raised section like this that goes higher than the fill level, remember it's going to pull a vacuum in the entire system and fluid will suck into every last void, including this hump. This will fill with coolant, and then when you remove this attachment, the fluid will go down and come gushing out of here and make a mess. So instead, watch your needle, and when it's almost out of vacuum, go ahead and turn it off and stop it. That way it doesn't get to fill this portion with coolant. All the rest of the system will be void of air and completely full of coolant, and just the last, few inches in here, you can just manually pour in and top up the last little bit, and you're done. You want to reuse your old coolant, but it's got bugs and dirt and other little things get caught up in there. So a lot of people will grab a funnel and a bottle and throw a coffee filter in there, but those clog up and don't really work worth a darn. Go down to your local automotive paint shop and get these paint filters. They work really well and they flow really fast. That's a fine screen mesh over there. Catches everything, works really well. You can even buy these in bulk online for pretty cheap. Another handy trick, watch this vacuum gauge. When you pull a vacuum, it's going to go all the way down and it's going to reach a point where it just stops and sits there. Close off all your valves and wait several minutes before you charge the coolant in. That way you can see if it's holding that vacuum. If you see the vacuum starting to slip and the gauge going down, you know ahead of time you've got a leak before you even put coolant in. It could be a very small leak. Go ahead and figure that out. Get it to where it holds a vacuum solid and the gauge doesn't move, then charge your coolant in.